Okay, I think I've done it, gang. I've clicked the buttons. I've turned the knobs. I've set the sliders up to content, and we are going to have a great discussion today. We have another episode of WhickTV for you guys, a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And today, have we got a show for you. So for the first half of tonight's episode, we're going to be talking to the community manager for Progressive Victory. Now, full disclosure, I get a check from Progressive Victory. They don't pay me for what I say, right? But they do pay me to come to a meeting once a week and have a discussion, right? And to consult with them and things like that. So just getting that out there so no one's like, oh, you're hiding, you're a paid shill, et cetera, et cetera. Nah, I believe in what these guys are doing. They're great. I've worked with them for a while now. A+. But one of the things that people ask me on occasion is, well, what do you guys actually do? Like, what does Progressive Victory actually try to do? And so CJ here has graciously agreed to come on and kind of talk about it with us. And if you've questions or concerns or anything like that throughout the discussion that you'd like me to talk about and to ask, throw it out there, and I'll get to them if I can. We might have call-ins near the end, and if you want to call in and ask them directly, by all means, please. I don't think he's been at any of the recent campus protests, gang, but you can speak for yourself. But I guess we'll pass the ball over to him and say, hey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here to everyone chat. Yes, I'm CJ. My pronouns are he, him. I've been the community director the community manager for Progressive Victory for well over 2 months. I've been involved within the organization since April of 2023, and I basically have gone all homegrown from joining the org, getting involved with some phone banking, and then just slowly doing more and more work, saying yes to things, and now I'm here. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum, be it as a just complete volunteer joining in for a phone banking on. We did a lot of phone banking for the Ohio abortion referendum, all the way up to trying to manage everyone's experience to make it as pleasurable as possible.
Beautiful. So I guess the first question I'd have for you is like, what does Progressive Victory actually do?
So, progressive victory is twofold. The first thing is that we work with streamers such as yourself to try to reach the most engaged members in the entire community. So the people that are out here watching live streams, being as informed as possible, those are people that are great to be able to engage in lots of different volunteer activities. I know for me personally, I'm originally from Los Angeles. And as a Californian, it was a little bit not great to be disenfranchised. So for university, I was like, oh, I'm going to go over to Florida. And surely my vote will matter more then. Didn't work out too well on that. So it's like, okay, well, what more can I do? Well, this is a way for you to be able to work and affect change nationally in very close races, while being able to be kind of like from your own home. Um, a major thing that we will then work with is we'll do um, phone banks, we will do canvassing, and we will do other just smaller events here and there on the community side. So,
Phone banking, what is that? I hear that term a lot, right? A lot of people talk about, well, you should do phone banking with us. What is phone banking? Like, say I wanted to sign up to phone bank with you guys. What would I expect? Like, walk me through the process.
sure. So phone banking is something where you're going to be on a team, like a call with people, and then you are going to be making phone calls. However, it's not going to be using your phone number. It is going to be using a phone, and you're going to be working with whatever campaign that you're working with, and they're going to have like an auto dialer for you to be able to utilize. What you're then able to do is you're going to be targeting, for example, we have a phone bank campaign that will go into the candidate a little bit later. But for this candidate, we're focusing on the Democrat primaries. So you're going to be only talking to Democrats, and then you're going to be talking to likely Democrats who are going to be voting overall, and just having a conversation to say, hey, this is a candidate that I think you should support, and here's why. And then you're able to, through doing that, make an outreach of thousands of people. For our most recent phone bank event we did before this, we were campaigning for 𝕾𝖎, and we were able to have over 10,000, I forget if it was voter contacts or voter impressions. We had 10,000 people that we reached out to, and were able to say, hey, you should vote for this person. She ultimately ended up winning her district by, I believe it was like 59 or 60%, which then makes it less likely that there's going to be challengers to her in the future, and solidifies her seat for time and getting that incumbency advantage more and more and more for the future.
Beautiful. I mean, it sounds, first of all, it sounds like you guys are actually having an impact. One of the things that I see in this space a lot, right? And I hear a lot is, hey, these are the policies that we believe in. These are the principles that we believe in. These are the policies that support our principles. Um, I hear on occasion people say you should go vote and things, but for me, that's always been kind of like the bare minimum, right? Voting is absolutely great, and you should do it, but you don't. Excuse me. That's not all you can do. So sell me a little bit on some of the candidates you got coming up. When we talk about like the effectiveness of the organization and things like that, where are you looking to apply that coming up for people and things like that?
So our current campaign that we are running for is we have a phone banking campaign for 𝕾𝖎𝖙𝖘𝍍𝖚. She is a really great candidate. She is for a $15 minimum wage. She wants to, of course, expand and protect voter rights.
Where's she a
She
candidate
is
at?
Maryland. This is a
Okay.
Senate race for Maryland that's going on right now. So it's really important, especially when we're looking at senators, to be able to get the progressive in. The candidate that she is running against is like, I think it's 90 plus percent self funded, kind of in for his own interests. So when you're looking at the two different options, she's going to be trying to expand tax credits for clean energy. Um, and then she's also going to be useful for, again, just protection of a lot of those rights and enshrining them.
Question for my audience for you, if you don't mind. Besides getting information out through streamers, how exactly do you work on activating "quote unquote" people into canvassing or helping out? Like, if you if someone signs up for one of these things, right? Um, like,
Sure.
yeah, what
So
happens?
the so there's going to be a few different avenues. I, as the community manager, am going to be in charge of trying to make, again, your experience within PV as great as possible. So, for example, last weekend we had a basically big celebration event for getting out to vote for 𝕾𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜. We hosted not one, not two, but five different voice channels of various different events that was going on. We had Gartic phone, we had Jackbox. We were teaching people how to like do proper formal debates. We had a show and tell for pets, and being able to go and meet with other members who are also engaged within Progressive Victory allows you to feel you're not alone. And then from there, saying, "All right, we had this fun, really cool event. Now let's go out and work." And then the people that you're phone banging with, you already are familiar with. Oh, it's not just some other person. That's CJ from Progressive Victory that's doing the phone banking along with me. And then afterwards, being able to come and have a chill and chat.
So kind
In
of like
fact,
a Yeah, kind of like I don't mean to cut you off or anything, but just building communities, right? Building groups that work together on these things. One of the, I guess, concerns that people might have is it becomes kind of insular. Do you see that happening at all?
That has not been my experience so far. I've gotten along with a lot of people within Progressive Victory, and part of it is that we have such robust streamer outreach that we get communities from all over the progressive space. So that allows us to kind of have a good, healthy spectrum when it comes to political causes and topics on that. Similarly, when you're working with someone as well, and you're working together for like causes, that is really, really great for being able to kind of break down barriers and have more productive conversations with people because you ultimately are both vying for a better future.
Yeah, I think that like that is something that get lost in the sauce, especially in these online spaces, right? We're always fighting with each other. We're always at each other's throats over very minor differences. But at the end of the day, it's legislation that matters, right? The legislation that gets passed, the people who are passing that legislation, the people who represent us in Congress, in the Senate, in our local elections. All these things matter, and all these things are important. And while, yeah, I mean, even look, it's no secret. I've debated some of them on my channel. I don't see eye to eye with everyone in Progressive Victory. I don't. There are things I disagree with. There are things that they disagree with me on. But we all want, at the end of the day, to get people who respect democracy, just respect the rule of law, and want to see a better future. And I think this is the best way to do it. I'm gonna put a link in my chat, gang, because again, we talked about phone banking. We talked about Ashla books. I'm sorry.
Also, Brooks. Also,
Also
Brooks.
Brooks. I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm terrible with names. I apologize. I've looked into her, gang. Yeah, no, this is someone we can support. So if you want to, and if you want to look into her, I'm going to give a link to her website in my chat, and you can check out her policies. Make sure you're okay with her, right? Again, if you don't feel comfortable promoting this person, that's fine. I get it, but I want to give you the opportunity to. And then I'm going to put a link for phone banking, the signups that they're having. You said you could do this from home. Like, how does that work?
Yes. So basically, if you click the link, you can sign up for the phone banking. What that will do is that will get you access to the virtual event. Once that goes live, you'll be given an access to link, and then that link will go to the Also Brooks campaign. And then they'll be able to run the phone bank and kind of direct you with here's the setups. If you're a first time volunteer at the start of every single call shift, they'll train you. Every phone bank is going to be a little bit different in terms of the exact technology that they're using. So it's pretty standard practice. And then once you're there, you don't need to be there for the entirety of the time. Just coming in, I've definitely had times where I've had something I had to do, came in, phone bank for an hour, got in like 100 calls, and then out of those 100 calls, I get like five, six, seven live conversations, and then that is five, six, seven photo impressions that you've made. Because a thing that a lot of people might not realize, where we're like, well, why are people not realizing? You know, it's like this versus this. The median voter isn't going to necessarily be as knowledgeable about the people that are watching these sorts of live streams, and basically can be convinced with that simple conversation. Or maybe they're originally not planning on voting and they're like, oh, there's a primary happening next week. Yeah, I guess I'll come go. And being able to help the campaign with that is going to be very useful. And then even if again, for Allsbrooks in specific, you're saying, I'm not sure. You are also going to be able to call and figure out people to be put on the lists in the future of like, oh, this is someone who is a active primary voter, or actually this person changed their party affiliation entirely, take them off the list, and that's going to be useful for all future campaigns for them going forward. So it is very useful in the short term as well as the long term when we're looking at the campaigns.
That sounds great to me. Aside from phone banking, and again, I put the links to both Angela Alsobrooks' campaign and also to a link where you can sign up if you want. And you don't have to, gang, okay? If you're not comfortable with this, I get it. But if you'd like, you can click that link and you can sign up to phone bank for an hour, 2 hours, however long you can take out. And I just want to stress this, right? Like, if you actually believe in these policies, if you actually have these principles, you should do something about it. You should do something about it. That's what I scream at the rooftops, because so many people, all they do is wag their finger online. They get those dunks in Twitter, right? They go on and they say, "Oh, those Republicans are so stupid," right? Right? "Oh man, look at me. I'm so much better than a Republican." But then they don't do shit. They don't do anything. And I think that one of the reasons I work with Progressive Victory, even if I don't agree with them on everything, is because they're doing things. They're getting things done. And again, if you want to help, you can. And that's how you do it. Like, other than phone banking, because, let's be honest, a lot of these people, right, they don't like phones. They get nervous. What are some other things that people can do who want to be involved other than phone banking? What kind of other
Sure.
programs do you guys have?
So we have two larger initiatives that are going on currently. One is we have actually a house canvassing project. So this would be more so, hey, the phone bankings are great and all, but what more can I do? We are currently taking volunteers, and we will provide your food, your lodging, and an additional $500 a month to just have be thank you for hanging around, and basically go and be
Wait,
door
how much a
knocking
month?
on $500 a month, in addition to your free lodging.
Oh, free rent and
Yes.
$500 a month? That's a lot of money you can spend on super chats to me, gang. Okay, a lot. But carry on, please.
Uh, Yes, and this is going to be between May and November. And basically, what it's going to be doing, you're going to be supporting progressive and democratic candidates and initiatives, as well as going and knocking on like door to door to door, and being able to engage in the political process. This
What
is also going to be
what cities do you have this? I don't mean to cut you off, but what cities are these available? Like, what regions, what areas? Do we have a list?
Uh, so we have one in Arizona, Ohio, and North Carolina. I don't know these specific locations off the top of my head. I believe it's Phoenix, Arizona. I'm forgetting the other locations, but that will all be available on the things. Oh yeah, here we go. Sorry, I found the list. We're good.
Okay.
Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Montana, Nevada, Arizona, and Ohio. So those are going to be the different states that we are targeting. These, of course, are pretty important swing states. Pennsylvania and Wisconsin being really, really, really important, as well as Nevada and Arizona being there. And then we're really trying to focus on Ohio, because Ohio has we're fresh off of winning the voter referendum when it came to enshrining abortion rights, and then North Carolina, of course, has the Republican governor who is exceptionally weak. The challenger, the GOP challenger for North Carolina, is exceptionally weak, and so we're hoping that we can motivate enough people to keep that slash switch it over to blue. So
I
those would be our different states.
I really, really hope that you guys focus a lot on Pennsylvania. From a selfish perspective, I live in Pennsylvania, okay? But also from just a look, Pennsylvania is like crucial. We got to win that if we want to win the electoral college, right? So I think that I'm really hoping you guys have some stuff coming up in the future. And gang, I'll let you guys know, right? And it'd be a perfect opportunity to come out and do some work with us when we get a chance. Is there a website with that list on it? So if people want to go, like, if they're interested, if they're sitting there and they're like, that sounds kind of cool. I'd like to live in a house for a few months and just do a little work, do some canvassing work and things like that. Um, is there a website or something?
Yeah, so there's two ways that you could get into it. One is we have just a general LinkedIn post, and the other is it is in our announcements in our Discord server. And I'll be explaining a little bit more on the Discord server in a bit. But those are the two ways that you can get involved, either through again this LinkedIn post, that to sign up and learn more from there, or again through that server.
Before we go on though, I do have another audience question. I think it's fair to ask. Um, this is from Conserve Liberalism, and he asks, CJ, how do you feel about money in politics, specifically the Citizens United case, and how corporations slash PACs are people and money is tantamount to speech? What are your thoughts on that?
So the disclaimer on my opinions are not necessarily, full on Progressive
Sure,
Victory's
sure.
opinions. All that other legal jargon. Um, I mean, I think that it's right now in its current state something that we have to contend with and have to work within the system of. Ideally, there would be less money in politics. Ideally, we wouldn't be having every single election be more expensive than the last. But right now, unless we are getting a lot of candidates that are going to be passing laws to restrict slash overturn the effects of Citizen United, I don't think that there's too much that can be done on that until we get enough political willpower to implement some sort of legislation to say no, we should not be having this amount of money in politics.
But yeah,
So
but you see the concern, right? That there are people who would say that this is disingenuous, it's astroturf, that you're paying for people's opinions and things like that. What would be your response?
so for in that specific context, I mean, we like I said, I joined Progressive Victory as a volunteer, and what we're doing with the canvassing houses is we're not asking people, hey, we're paying you for this political opinion. What we're doing is we're saying, hey, you're already passionate about these causes and these candidates, and we are willing to pay you money because your time is valuable to do nothing but just going and reaching out to other people who also supposedly care about these same things. So, like looking at lists of registered Democrats, for example, and just knocking on the door and say, "Hey, by the way, there's an election going on. You should make sure that you're voting in it." Because getting that a little bit extra motivation and having that conversation is going to lead to a higher turnout, which is then going to lead to better outcomes for all of us. So that's what I would say on that. It's like,
Yeah,
yes, we're compensating you, but it's for things that you already believe in.
fair enough. Fair enough. Um, so we've covered the phone banking. That's one way.
Yep.
We've covered canvassing house. That's another way. What other ways do you have available?
So if you're also involved and want to be getting more involved, we do have a fellowship internship like community. This is more for people that are looking for like college credits or like college internship credits, and then also like want to be building up their college resume. So this is for people who are kind of looking to get further into political science. We do have pathways and avenues available for those sorts of people, which I am sending you the link for. That is also going to be available on our LinkedIn as well as the community. But a big thing as far as like what I do is I'm all about trying to help form the community as a whole. A big thing that is kind of different for Progressive Victory versus other political orgs is that we started up and really got our roots planted back in 2022. In 2023 was we were still there and we were still working on these different initiatives and bringing in phone banking. When I was doing the Ohio phone banking, one of the days that we were here, Progressive Victory was literally half of the candidates that were phone banking on that day. And so it's coming and doing that change. And then guess what? 2024, we already have this really established group of people and we're growing more and more. And guess what? We're still going to be here in 2025 and in 2026 and continuing to push things further and further and further instead of just doing, hey, here's this giant 2024 push. All right, see you in 4 years, maybe. So I'd say that that is a big thing is with the community aspect and being able to rely on each other.
So
Before I, yep.
no, no, finish your point. Go ahead.
I was going to say that before I became the community manager, I was the lead for my state that I had moved up to New Hampshire, and I was running that. And we have our primaries coming down in September. And beforehand, it was just, hey, we had the eclipse, and we all met up and watched the eclipse together, and was able to witness that. And then we're having meetings where it's like, what are the small things that we can do on a local level to also again flip the house. Like our state house is like barely a Republican, so it's like flipping that as well and seeing what we can do on a local level. So it's always there is something going on.
What so two questions. I'll ask this first, but then I want to get to the what exactly the fellowship involves, right? Like we posted that link, but uh, a fellowship, like what is expected. But before I ask that, I wanted to kind of get your opinion on, because this is something I struggle with on occasion. There are people who will come in and say, voting doesn't work. This electoralism thing, it's too little. Like we are in a broken system. Everything you do is feeding into that system. It's not working. We have things going worse and worse and worse. What would you say to those people who say that it's too little, too late, that what the work you're doing is ineffective, etc.? What can you point to? What successes can Progressive Victory point to maybe help my audience who might be on the fence on this see that it's kind of worth their time?
Sure. So I have historical examples of like, hey, does the vote matter? And do organizations impact things? So I'm going to answer that part first, and then I'll get to progressive victory.
Sure.
The big thing is, it's like Roe versus Wade was overturned 50 years ago, and that made enough people upset that they then advocated it for it and used it as a policy to motivate people to go and vote and vote and vote and get more and more political power. We have organizations like the Heritage Foundation that exist that have basically made a massive legislative change from the judicial branch. And that has been due to the ability of people voting. And that lack of voting has allowed them to have more power, but also that very consistent push of trying to just bring things a little bit to the right, a little bit to the right, a little bit to the right, I think has laid a lot of the groundwork for kind of where we are now legislatively on that regard. Similarly, what progressives have done, like the Biden administration of what they have accomplished, passing the largest climate crisis bill in history to combat that, being able to invest in the largest infrastructure bill. I'm not sure of his history, but like one of the largest infrastructure bills that we've had, and being able to also like undo a lot of the things that the Trump administration had done, like the transgender ban, the Muslim travel ban, undoing a lot of those things has been, successful from the Biden administration, and that's been due to calls. Like I personally, I am 25. I have student loans, and the pause on student loans followed by the save plan has saved me thousands of dollars in interest, even though it's not fully wiped. So those things are all due to people voting, and then people being rewarded for that voting. In terms of what Progressive Victory specifically has been doing, again, the things that I'm most familiar with in terms of what is on my mind was we were on both Ohio ballot initiatives to help them again secure the access. So originally, the Ohio GOP tried to make a special election where they literally repealed, I think it was August special elections. They passed a law banning it because it was undemocratic, and then they undid the law, so that way they could hold one. And so they said, okay, you need to vote no on issue one, and then we had to switch it to 5 months later vote yes on issue one, to be able to, because the issue one was originally oh, you need 60% of the vote instead of 50% of the vote to pass. So we were able to stop that and then help with stopping the other part. And again, the other thing is most recently we had our candidate for Summer Lee. And again, being able to get those 10,000 voter impressions and being able to talk to people and then get them in the ballot box, again, solidifies her as a candidate going forward, which is going to help us with progressive causes. So those things, of those little things, continuing to stack up and being able to just tilt things a little bit for, okay, the progressive one by 3,000 votes instead of losing by 1,000 votes. That's a big part of what we're doing when we're targeting our races.
Makes sense to me. Uh, to the fellowship specifically, though, right? Like, we're asking people to sign up for this. What's expected of them? Say you went, you clicked on that link that I gave in chat earlier, and you're like, fellowship, college credits. That sounds great. What's the responsibilities that someone who signs up for this has? What are they expected to do?
Sure. So it depends on which side that you're looking at. I'm going to be more familiar with the organizing, so I'm going to go over that first. But this is going to be, it's a virtual position. You don't need to, travel anywhere. This is going to be about 10 hours a week. And basically, we are looking to have, it's a 6-month program. It's going to be beginning in June. And it's going to allow people to get hands-on organizing experience, being able to work, basically being able to be trained on kind of like the standard and innovative political organizing softwares, being able to use like Scale to Win, Jira, Mobilize, Action Network, and Discord. Basically, a bunch of different technologies that campaigns use, and being able to understand how they work, and then being able to use those technologies going forward. So, if you're then working for a political campaign in the future, these are going to be the similar technologies that you would be using, and so you'd already have those experiences and learn it from experts. That'd be the organizing. And then if you're looking more on the media and communication side, that is going to be also the same time period, but we're going to be again focusing on a little bit more. Managing the working relationships with our streamer partners, assist with preparing public facing communications and media materials, assist with researching relevant political issues, and like doing logistics for other PV media events. So those are going to be the two
Okay.
main fellowships that we have.
Sounds good to me. I mean, and you get college. What are the recompense? Is college credit? What else?
Uh, that is the main thing that I am aware of off of the top of my head. I'm not
Sure.
as familiar with it, so I don't want to say anything and mislead.
Got you. Got you. Fair
And
enough.
like I'm that's why I had to retract myself. Was like college credit. Like it's not a college credit. It's an internship. Credit for
Sorry. I just
those
ran
things.
with it
That's
when you
fine.
said
Yeah,
it because fair enough.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. No, that look, one of the one of the ways we make change is by working in the system that we have. Um, I know it's not so one of the things I think that media fails us in, right, is we see movies about protests, we see movies about these kind of like watershed moments in our history where things change drastically, but we don't see the day-to-day grind that goes in to those changes, to getting the policies in place, protecting those policies, helping to undo bad policies, getting elected officials in at every level of our government, right? Getting judges in too, getting different sheriffs in, ones that are more progressive than the ones who just want to beat the shit out of people, right? Like, there are so many day-to-day unglamorous things that people need to do that are super effective. But here's the thing, gang. It's not the movies. It's work. It's work. I won't sugarcoat it. It's not fun. Look, phone banking ain't fun. It's not. I've done it before. It's not fun at all. But it's necessary and it's effective. And there are other things that, again, not fun, but necessary and effective. If you want to be involved and you want to see change done, this is how the sausage is made, boys and girls. This is how we do it. We get in there, we roll up our sleeves. If I had sleeves, I'd roll them up right now. And we get our hands dirty, okay? We get in there and we do the things that work. And tweeting, it doesn't really work. I promise you. what would you say to people who are sitting here and who are worried that maybe you're going uh they're Democrats, but they're not like super
Mhm.
leftists, okay? And they
Sure.
worry that this is going to push the bar too left. What would you say to that?
So the first thing is that we as Progressive Victory are a very big tech tent org. I know, progressive, that can be a little bit of a scary word, but there's a few different things to that. One is that if you believe that we are going to be extremely politically effective, and I personally believe that is going to be the case, you being there is going to make us more hearing of what are your views and more reflective of your views. So being able to be there, and let's say you're you come in and you're like, hey, I want to be part of the research team because we have various different skills teams, and I want to be able to help do these research initiatives. That is going to be something that is useful, and then your voice is going to be able to be heard more and more, and be maybe tapped on in the future. Um, then the other part is that you said that just afraid of things going too far left
Well, the
for.
the the fear here in what people sometimes say to me and things like that is like, they're center left liberals, right? There's a lot of
Sure.
center left liberals who are like, well, no, Trump's an existential threat. We don't like Trump at all, but we also don't like some of the things we were seeing on these campus protests, and we don't like the excesses of the left. So I guess you've already answered that question to me. Like, people ask me that because I'm pretty against some of the excesses of the left too. What I tell
Hmm.
people is the same thing that you tell them. Like, me going in there and having a voice and having a say means that I can help, at least in a small part, in a small way, shape things. And these positions that they are offering, these fellowships, these different positions on teams, getting involved with this organization can help you, um yeah, if you're scared of the excesses, be the change you want to see in the world, right? Like, just get in there, advocate for what you believe in, and if they're trying to be excessive, hold them to account. I think that's a perfect answer in my opinion, but
Yeah.
it's my answer, so you know.
I mean, the
Um,
the the last part that I'll say as well, just for that, is that we do have community events. Again, that's my big thing. And so, if you're a little bit iffy on the organizing, and you just kind of want to peep into the Discord and see a little bit more of like what does the community look like, we do have regular events. So we had a massive kickoff event, and it was so successful that people said, "All right, when are we doing another one?" So we have a just post phone bank chill and chat actually happening tonight at about 8 o'clock EST. But we also are having another event coming this Saturday to be able to go. And again, it's going to be gaming, it's going to be chatting. We're going to be having another debate, but the debates are over silly things like, is water wet? Just trying to hone our debate skills with non controversial topics. So if you're kind of on the curious side, absolutely, go and check it out. And then from there, figure out.
and
You don't
is
need to come in, plunge in, do all the activism. Check
got you.
first and then do things. I know I'm focusing a lot on these are the really cool things, because this is the stuff that makes me excited and empowers me. Um, but also, it doesn't need to be a full. Okay, you're in now. Do all these things, right?
Yeah, it's not a feet first thing. I'm gonna post a link, gang, to the Discord. If you want to take part in any of the community events or anything like that, um, just click the link and you can join the Discord. And I'm sure if you have questions, right, that they can answer. But also, unless you had anything else, I want to give a chance for the people in my audience to come ask you things directly if they'd like. Would that be okay with you for a few minutes?
Sure, works for me.
So 𝕨𝑗𝑠ocks, I'm looking at you specifically, right? Like, if you guys have issues, if you guys have things that you want to ask him that I haven't, if you want a chance to kind of talk to him about anything that's been said today or any concerns you have, Gang, now's a chance. Okay, now's your chance. You can come in and ask those questions that you think I'm too scared to ask or what have you. Let me give you the links to my Discord, and you can click on that link, and you can jump backstage, and I can pull you in. Give me one moment. Bring on Mr. Bill. If Mr. Bill wants to come on, literally anyone who's not banned from my server currently, anyone literally who wants to come on my show can come on my show and ask him. Go ahead. Now's the time. Gang, I get comments all the time, right? I get things like, oh, what's Progressive Victory hiding? Why are they being so secretive? Here he is, community director, manager. I forget which one it was. Manager. Community manager. Dude's here to answer your questions. Dude's here to talk to you. Here. Let's talk.
You put on the parties.
I know. Come on, gang. My backstage is still empty. I need it filled. I need it filled with people. You guys, like, I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, it's hard to take your criticism seriously when you're unwilling to make those criticisms in public to people's faces, right? It's hard to take your doubts and suspicions seriously when you, again, we're offering full transparency here. You have the chance to come on and talk to him, and you're not doing that. Come on. What's going on? What is going on? Why does Twitch TV hate me? Says, can you ask him how he combats the negative narrative surrounding PV? Okay.
Sure. I mean, the big thing when it's looking at negative narratives around PV is mostly pointing to what are we accomplishing and the groundwork that we're doing. I can say for me specifically, I am a lot more involved with trying to make, again, the individual experience as great. So I'm not as involved with whatever Twitter drama might be going on. But what we try to do is just highlight this is the work that we're doing, and hopefully the results kind of speak for themselves when we're getting election wins, or making the elections at least a lot closer than they were expected to be.
Noted. No Cal Mike, the question we all want answered, has WhickTV been a good investment for PV, and why hasn't he? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is, the fact that I'm able to come on and speak here, I think has been good. And then the other thing, I believe, for the Discord link, if you want to really, really show that return on investment, is the special. You did the special Wick link, right?
I did the
So
special Wick link, yes.
So that way we can see where everyone is coming from.
Well,
you can be the champion.
Look, I at the end of the day,
it's all about the ego. I know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is a little bit. We're streamers. But at the end of the day, I don't look. I don't know why you guys pay me money, but you do, and I'm proud. I'm happy to take it. Right? I think that one of the benefits I do offer, if I may be serious for a moment to my audience, right, is I get people who would normally not watch any progressive content to watch my show. And there's not a lot of them, right? A lot of people have much bigger audiences than me, but Lex Friedman regularly watches my show. I have big names that regularly watch my show. Again, it's not thousands of viewers, but it's not how many people watch you, it's who watches you, who influences the influencers and things like that. I think that matters. Follow up to that. How do you track your progress, and what metrics would you consider? What metrics do you use to consider something a success? Like, so when we're doing canvassing or when they're doing a phone bank, what metrics do we use to measure, like, this was a successful operation?
So back in, I believe it was February, we had a very massive Ohio canvassing event. And during that event, we got, I believe it was over 40,000 doors knocked on. And that was within a singular weekend. By comparison, typically political campaigns try to get those numbers over the course of a year. And we did that. And then the other thing is that when we're looking at kind of dollar per knock, so to speak, of how much money does it spend, like how much money does it take a political campaign to get a knock on the door. Normally, it's about, I believe it's $5 or so, and we were able to do it in roughly half, if I recall
Damn.
correctly. So we are getting more engagements more regularly. Another big thing is that when we're looking at kind of how the DNC might be spending their money, is like the old school way is you build up your like war treasury, and then in the final months right before the election, you just spend it all on political campaigns and TV ads. Well, that's not very useful if people aren't watching TV anymore. And so being able to go and get those actual voter contacts, that's a big part of what we're doing. So we're tracking like people who are signing up, how many signups do we have, how many people are showing up to our events, um, those sorts of things.
Okay. Well, we have an actual caller. Let's bring him in and see what he has to ask you. You're live. What you got?
Oh, hey there. Give me a second. Let me turn my camera on right quick.
Sure.
Right.
Beautiful. Beautiful camera.
It's,
really
it's not
great.
on just yet. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry, Wick. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and just start asking the questions right quick.
Please.
So yeah, my name's Alex, and I'm actually a vice chair for my Democratic Party where I'm located at. So I got a couple questions. What's your strategy to reach rural voters, especially those that are in heavily conservative areas, essentially? What's your strategy for that?
So the first thing is that when we're doing the phone banking, and this is going to be a little bit more on, like, I'm a lot more on the community side, so my answer is going to be more vague. Apologies for that.
Sure.
But when we are able to be doing these things, like the phone banks for Angela Alsterbrooks running for Senate, um, we don't care where you are located necessarily. We're going to be able to get that contact to try to have that conversation with you, regardless of where you are within the state. So that's for one. Another thing is I know, like, specifically for our North Carolina house, it's kind of situated about, I think it's like 40 minutes between two cities, um, and being able to use that to kind of reach more areas is one of the things that we are prioritizing. But that's about as much as I know off the top of my head. And again, I don't want to be spreading this information.
Well, it's okay. I mean, because like we've got a couple systems in place. We have something like called the Van Touch system. Are you familiar with that?
I personally am not. I believe that someone in PV would probably know it, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, that's fair enough. The only reason I'm asking is just because like that's the system that we're trying to utilize. Everybody that's registered to vote, like in our general area, it gives us a chance to go like knocking on doors. That way we know who they are, and then that way there's a better chance for them to open it up instead of like blindly knocking and then you basically get the door slammed to your face kind of deal. So that's my first question though. But this one might be a little bit more like harder though. But it's like with the situation that's going on right now in Gaza, how do you intend on convincing those in support of the people of Palestine or people that have religious ties in there? How do you intend on getting them to vote? Because as of right now, places that are heavily Muslim, like in Dearborn, Michigan, places like in Minnesota, they're very, very, very hard for them, and they're just a lot of people out there are saying that they're not going to vote progressive. What is your chance and your intention on trying to reach out to them and try to bring them over to our side, essentially?
Sure. So the big thing that we try to focus on when it comes to is specifically like single issue voters
Mhm.
is trying to educate them on the vast variety of different things that are at stake, like on stake. I recognize that a lot of the single issue voters are not necessarily going to be going up, showing up to vote, and then voting for Trump. But they might still say, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to be staying home instead." So we can go out and have conversations with them to talk about, hey, at minimum, try to be voting on the down ballot, and then trying to recognize it's kind of like, well, you're choosing between one of these two, and trying to just show here is the additional benefits. That again, the like just reminding them of the other things that the Biden administration has been done, and just trying to have them recall that it's not going to just be the single issue, even though while also still being very considerate of, yes, we recognize that this is definitely a very prevalent issue to you.
Okay, fantastic. Is there a chance where you and I can stay in contact? Because I would like to kind of strategize with you as well, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. I will send you a quick DM.
Fantastic.
Making connections. Alex,
There
thanks
you
for calling in. We do have one more caller. I want to get to that, and I want to
Absolutely.
respect my guest's time. I
Appreciate
know
it.
he has a appointment at 7, so I want to
Cheers.
make sure that we can get as many people as we can. Alex,
Thank you.
great questions. Have a great day. Okay. Well, those and these are important questions, right? Like, how do we reach these people, like who would normally either stay home, vote Trump, or uh, just can't get excited for the candidates. But let's bring on our next guest and see what they have to say. You're live. What you got for us?
How's it going?
It's
Hi.
going good.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys covered this, but I just wanted to say, as someone who's involved in my local town committee and as a candidate for office coming up next year, we desperately need people to join town committees, like Democratic town committees especially. Like I feel like I see so many people on Twitter just complaining, but I never see them at the ballot box, or even worse, at town committee meetings and like local governments where everything happens. So has Progressive Victory done anything to encourage people to move toward a local focus?
Yes, we have had. So we have a few different ways for that. One, we have our state teams. So each state is going to have some sort of leadership, and they have regular meetings to talk about state-specific initiatives. And depending on which area that you are, like New Hampshire is pretty small, but depending on how big it is, I know New York, for example, has several different coalitions. So that way, they have not only just the here's the state issues, but more local parts. We also have had a few different members that have run for different candidacies in the past. One, I believe, one of our members recently won. It was Michigan City something. I'm forgetting the exact position, but that is something that we do try to encourage members to run in.
Well, yeah, it's good. That's good. It just seems so frustrating that people just call themselves progressives online, and then I never see them do anything. Basically, like WhickTV is really good, and IRI is really good, Destiny as well, but I just don't really. It just feels like people just want to sit online, complain, and just collect money streaming. Is basically what I'm getting from
Okay.
most of the political actors.
So, look, I'm going to interject because it frustrates me too. These people are more concerned about signaling to their in group, to their tribe, how left they are than they are about the actual elections. That's where their focus is. That's where their priority is. It's a very human thing. I'm not saying that they're like uniquely evil or uniquely lazy or uniquely bad for doing this, right? It's a very human thing. Everyone does it to some extent, but there is this idea that all you have to do is signal to your tribe that you support them, and then you're done. And I don't think it should end there. I don't think it should stop there. I think it's the bare minimum is voting. Bare minimum. And if you're not voting and you're just popping off online, then you were worse than useless, in my opinion. But sorry, I didn't mean to interject. You can answer the question.
So I would say, also a little bit on that sentiment is that what we do really well within Progressive Victory, and why I started volunteering with them in the first place, is that it was a place for me to kind of channel my political anxiety, because it was like, well, I don't think I really want to run for office, but I want to be doing more than just voting. So I was going to my local Democrat meetings. And then I also was saying, okay, what can I do in addition to that? When I was down in Florida, I think I was in a R+13 county. So it's like, oh, well, now that's not being able to be working. But that's why it's like, oh, here are elections that are going to be closer to swings. Here are important ballot initiatives that we're going to have. So that way you can take the marginal steps. So if you're on the hey, I want to be doing a little bit more, then we have the phone banking, or just the skills teams helping us with our audio and video. I'm about to be hosting a research skills team, and we're going to be going over trying to just find clips for things like abortion access, as well as like candidates who are against like contraception access. Like that is one of the things that we could do to then be able to help enable other people. So there's like this major spectrum between just voting and running for office, and so we're trying to have options for everyone every step that way.
All right. Wick, if you'll indulge me, I have two more questions. One's really silly and one's really hard.
If we can make them quick, because he does have an out at 7, and I want to make sure he gets through
Okay,
his
I'll
stuff.
start with the first one first. How many WooBucks will I get if I volunteer for Progressive Victory?
Um, at a number greater than -1.
Okay. And the harder question is, how do you deal with Progressive kind of having kind of like a almost tarnished reputation right now with more mainstream voters? Because when I talk to voters as part of my office, a lot of them see identify as someone as progressive, and they say, "Oh, well, you're the kind of person who wants all that crazy gender stuff in schools, or like lets the criminals out." Because a lot of people do have they do pay attention to what's going on in a lot of with progressive DAs, and it does give them kind of worry.
Yeah. So I'm more on the community side, so I don't have the specific numbers versus kind of more of our PR team. But the main thing is again, we point to this is the actual work that the organization is doing, and then also by working with people that are kind of all across the uh, kind of Democrat spectrum by having such a big tent. It's not like, oh well, you can't necessarily say that we're this political affiliation because we're kind of working with these different um, orgs. But again, it's mostly like, hey, yes, we are going for something that is more than just kind of like an exact, I guess, like corporate Democrat, and kind of signaling there, but also just trying to again support people. Like we are for the presidential election supporting Biden, the full stop, so that can kind of be enough to be like, okay, well, we're working for these electoral goals.
Okay, so I look, I wasn't gonna bring this up, but I kind of have to bring this up. Did you see 𝕵𝖎𝖎's coverage of Biden's statement, and he called him
Oh
a
my God.
fascist? What
I did not see the most recent one now, so I can't
fair enough, you
say.
can't talk. But I look at that and I wonder, right? Because I know the Progressive Victory is working with 𝕵𝖎𝖎, I understand, but like, and I get it, we can't tell people what to say or anything like that. But I look at it, I'm like, calling him a fascist, it's not, one, not true, and two, I don't know, I don't understand it. But anyway,
I again, I haven't seen that
haven't
specific
seen it,
coverage. So I'm
can't
not.
comment. I get it. Okay.
Well, whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
I
off
do.
there.
He
I
does
do
have to
know
go.
that we had a comment where it's we had Sam going and talking to 𝕵𝖎𝖎 and basically saying like, hey, these are a lot of the things that the Biden administration that has been good, and then also having that direct dialogue with him. So it could be a bit of give and take, but again, I'm not familiar enough with it. So
Sure. Again, I don't know. I don't know the full extent of everything. I'm just a foot soldier king, right? Like I'm not involved in who gets chosen or promoted or anything like that. But it does kind of give me pause. With that said, I want to give you a chance. Oh, do you have
I just
something?
wanted to say one real quick. If you want to DM me and we can work, I'd like to work with Progressive Victory in my state so that we can get something going. I hope that'd be something acceptable. If you can just DM me so we can get the ball rolling on that, that'd be great.
I will have to check back on that specifically, just because political campaigns are more tricky. So,
Oh, I'm not in a campaign. I'm just a Democrat.
you're
in the
volunteering?
state.
Oh, then
Yeah.
great. Yeah, no problem.
Cool. Okay. Well, thanks for calling in, brother, and I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Okay. And with that, do you have any last words before you head off to do the research team stuff that you do? Go ahead.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much for having me on. It was really great to be here. I hope I was able to answer some good questions for the people. And again, Progressive Victory, I would highly recommend just coming, volunteering, just come to the community events. Those are the things I'm setting up. That's my seal of approval. And just have fun, make some friends, chat with people, and then maybe, just maybe, putting this out here, do a little bit of electoralism, activism work eventually, at some point. That'd be my big call to action, is you use the link, so Wick gets his credit, and hope to see you around.
Beautiful. Thanks for coming. Wait, bye everyone. Bye to our friend CJ. Bye. Okay. Gang. What a great talk. What a great show. What a great conversation. We've done some serious stuff today. Like, we joke around, we joke around. We talk all our shit, right? And we have our fun shows and our debates and all these things. But when it comes down to it, a lot of people ask me, why? How can you work for this company? They're a PAC, they're a corporation or whatever. They're dark money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, don't you feel your genuineness is tainted by taking this money? Gang, they are paying me to do the things I would be doing anyway. I would be doing this anyway. I would be advocating for these things anyway. I would be shouting these things from the rooftop anyway. I would be promoting Biden content anyway. I would be doing all these things anyway. They're paying me so that I can, and I don't have to cover bullshit like the Drake Kendrick stuff that everyone and their mother is trying to weigh in on because it's for clicks and views. I can ignore that and focus on things that I want to do instead, right? Because I'm not as tied to that viewer money incentive structure as much. Yeah, I really do believe in it. People call me like a centrist or whatever. I'm not. I'm a Democrat, gang. I'm a Democrat. I vote blue. I just do. I don't agree with everything that the Democrats say. I have concerns with some Democratic policies, and I speak those concerns, and I fight against those concerns, right? MIT recently got away with DEI statements. Great. That's good, right? A lot of these protesters were anti-Semitic. That's bad. But at the end of the day, I'm a Democrat. So I don't know what you guys are hoping for here, right? But that's who I am. That's who I've been. I am willing to work with Republicans on issues where we agree. I will always do that because I want what I want, right? The principles that I hold, I want to see them enacted into legislation. That's what I would like to do. And I'm very willing to work with Republicans when we agree on issues. And I think bipartisanship is great. I think that it is a feature, not a bug, to compromise with the other side. I think that it is a feature, not a bug, to work with across the aisle with people to get things done. I want to see more of that because, again, I realize that my morality is not everyone's morality, and I realize that we live in the same community, in the same country. We're all Americans, and we all need to kind of feel comfortable with where we are and get what we want. And so there are lines that I will draw that I will not compromise on, but there are also things where you got to get a little to give a little. You got to give a little to get a little. Compromise is a feature, not a bug. I will repeat that. Gang, I am frustrated. And you know why I'm frustrated? Because I see this again and again and again and again. I see people with no principles, who lack all moral character, who claim to take umbrage, like, oh my God, how could you make that joke? How could you say that thing? How could you do that? How could you support that policy? And then what do they do? What do they do? They take someone's medical issues. They take someone's problems. They take someone's illnesses. They take someone's dog dying, or they take someone's like a horrible thing happened in their life, and then they mock it, deride it, they put it on blast to their audience so that everyone can shit on them. These people are bad people. They're bad people. And let me be clear with who I'm talking about. Scum Day. Fucking Scum Day. Let's look up a tweet that he made. Give me one moment. Since we're doing this and I'm mad, we're going to do this. Okay. Give me 1 minute. Bloop, 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 bloop. I should have set this up earlier, but I didn't. Let me find it. Here we go, gang. Let me pull this up on screen. Oh, here we are. There's me. And there's this tweet. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this retard, okay? Look at this retard. President's Sunday. I hope people treat Brianna with the same empathy she has shown to so many others. And then he has a screenshot of her saying this. Leaving hospital, I just got some extremely bad health news that will impact every area of my career. I just want to die. The correct thing to do in this case, ladies and gentlemen, is to say nothing. If you have beef with someone, if you don't like someone, if you think someone is a bad person even, right? And something horrible happens to them in their life, something horrible in their personal life occurs, you know what the correct thing to do is? Nothing. You don't have to have sympathy for this person. You don't have to do anything like that. All you have to do is say nothing. But they can't help themselves because they aren't principled. What they want is to hate. That is what they are built on. They are built on hate. They hate this person. They have dehumanized this person. They have depersoned them in a very real way. And so they put this up in the altar in front of their audience, directing people's attention to this terrible thing that happened in this person's personal life in order to sick harassment on them, in order, knowing that it will happen, knowing that people, right, will again, Brianna has been called a monster by his president Sunday, been called all these things. He knows what he's doing here. Let's not do this, gang. If Sunday, God forbid, something happened in his personal life that threatened his health, you know what I would say? Nothing. If I was being particularly generous, I would say something like, you know, we have our differences. I think you're a bad person, but no one deserves this. That is the humane thing to do. That is the correct thing to do. That is the good thing to do. But they don't care. Principles are not something they care about. Let's look at some of these fucking replies, okay? Let's look at some of the replies. Tegma, must be nice to live in a country with functioning hospitals, have money to afford health care. Iron the Duck, well, depending on how bad her health is, she may just get her wish. Crazy. This person, I can't even pronounce his name, leave him alone, active misgendering, right? Now, thankfully, a lot of people calling him out for this. Krieger, I'm disappointed in you, Sunday. I don't expect you to give a shit, but I was holding on to my enjoyment of your content by a finger hold, and this is just no. Look, there are lines, gang. There are things we do not do. There are things we do not say. There are things we do not engage with in ways we do not engage with them, okay? People's personal lives like this, when you have a tragedy like this, you don't do that. You just don't. Especially if you're a progressive. Especially if you claim to care about people. If you claim to have empathy. If you claim to be a human fucking being. You don't do this shit. And then this person has the gall to moralize what anyone else says. This is why no one takes you seriously. This is why no one gives a shit when you say someone, you try to moral frog people and be like, you're such a monster and I hope you get what you deserve, etc. Right? This is why no one takes you fucking seriously at all. This is why everyone knows that your boos mean nothing because we see what you do. We see what you say when you think that you can get away with it. We see how you treat the people you don't consider people. We see how you act act when you do not like someone. You throw all your principles away. You are, sir, are not a leftist. You're not a progressive. All you are is a fucking opportunist. All you do is you lick your finger, you hold it up, you see which way is the wind's blowing to see how much money you can make. You have no principles. You have no soul. And you know what? That's okay, because if you got sick, I would donate to your GoFundMe. If you needed help, I would fucking help you like that. I would, because I'm a better person than you. And that's all that needs to be said for that. Gang, thank you. Thank you for coming in today. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Thank you for your support. I really do appreciate you, gang. So Sunday is bad? Sunday is bad. That's true. But for now, unless you guys have call-ins you want to do, I think that's it for today. Gang, we got some great content. We did some serious stuff today. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, we're trapping 𝕬𝖎 on a panel with a bear, okay? And we will make that content. We're going to have the man versus bear panel tomorrow. We got some great guests coming. It should be fun. Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. I'll chain it back before I change my screen. See if anyone's in the pit. Nope. Okay, for now. Peace out.